Good evening and welcome to Powwow Nation Live here on PowWows.com. My name is Paul Gowder and I started PowWows.com way back in 1996, and it's been a fun journey and it's all because of you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Tonight we're going to speak with one of the producers on APTN's series called Investigate. So I want to go ahead and play a trailer to show you a little bit about what he's going to talk about, and then we got some announcements before we get to the interview. So here's a little piece of what you're going to hear about later in this episode.
APTN News has confirmed that a seventh Indigenous person has died during an interaction with police in the last 2.5 weeks.
And his last words were, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. They killed my boy."
So they're looking at some very serious, very important subjects. So I want to give them a chance to talk about that in this interview that I have in a few minutes. But first, let's get to a few announcements. Let's talk about some things that are going on. First, let's talk about powwows happening this weekend. We've got so many coming up. Over in Mesa, Arizona at Westwood High School. They're going to have a gourd dance and powwow this weekend. So go check that out if you're in the Southwest. Over in Colorado, also this weekend, the second annual Grand Mesa Powwow over in Grand Junction, Colorado. So if you were there last weekend for Denver, maybe you're still in the area, you can go check this one out. Then we're going to head over to Bozeman, Montana for the 49th annual American Indian Council Powwow, happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Go check that out if you're up in that area. FEHA is happening in in Florida this weekend over in Fort Pierce, Florida. So don't miss that if you are down in that area. Then this one is happening in Bismarck, North Dakota. This is the Patsy and Nicodemus Danny Seaboy Memorial Powwow. This, if you're not able to make it to North Dakota, this one will be live on PowWows.com, on our website, on our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. So if you're not able to make it, that one we'll have live for you. Then we're going to head over to the Spirit of Nations Powwow over in Dan Ridge, Tennessee. That's a one-day powwow happening from 10 to 6, so come out and see that one. Lawton, Oklahoma is having an honoring for the Comanche Nation Junior Princess this weekend. And then over in Tulsa, Alabama is the powwow over at the University of Tulsa, happening on the 29th. I think that's Saturday. Okay. Yeah, so many powwows going on and so many more on the calendar for this powwow season. Don't forget to come and check out those. Linda, so I'm assuming, Linda, that you are new here. I appreciate you watching tonight. So powwows are a celebration of culture, heritage, dance, singing. It is a festival put on sometimes by tribes, sometimes by family. We were just talking about one of these is an honoring. So I'm guessing that was probably put on by the family of that young lady. Some of them are put on by organizing committees, and they're all over the country, all over the United States and Canada. They happen all over the place. They are open to the public for you to come, spectate, watch, and take a look. There's vendors, there's food, and of course the dancing and singing inside the arena. You don't want to miss these if you get a chance to go, and there is one on every single state. Speaking of, if you're looking to find powwows near you, go check out our calendar, PowWows.com/powwows-near-me. Will get you onto our email list, and I do send out powwow updates once a week for what's coming up in the next week or so, and then twice a month I send out a more extensive update. And if you're new and never been to a powwow, go check out our FAQ, PowWows.com/powwow101. I'll give you all the answers for what to expect at your first powwow, so that you know what you're going into, the do's, don'ts, the etiquette, and what all powwows mean. So go check that out over there. Do we have any in Toledo, Ohio? Yes. And so we have a really cool way for you to find powwows. Besides what I just talked about, you can just type in PowWows.com/Ohio, and it will take you right to we have a page dedicated to each state. So we're going to scroll down here and see that. Let's see what's going on. It doesn't look, I messed up the search somehow, but anyways, that does get you to the Ohio powwow. And so there are some Woodlands gathering, Kent State. I think there is one in Toledo. Anyways, send me an email, paul@powwows.com, and I will help you get connected to any of those powwows if you can't find them on our calendar. One of the things that we try to update them as soon as possible, but some committees don't put out their new information until maybe a month or a couple months before. And I know lots of you want to plan your trips way ahead of time. Sometimes you can look back and see what happened last year to get an idea of what will happen this coming year. So you can do that too. But not all of the 2025 information has been posted. We're still waiting on many powwows to get us their information. Next announcement, we are still in the middle of our giveaway for kicking off powwow season. And our friends at 8th Generation are sponsoring this contest. Here's one of the prizes, and I'm going to show you two of the prizes, two of the many that we're giving away. Look at these earrings. So pretty. Focus the light. There we go. Corn husk earrings. Love these. And we're giving away 3 of their blankets. Here's one of them. Take a look at that. Ooh, this one is gorgeous. And they always put a note inside telling you the artist and who made it. They even put it on the tag so you can see that. Their blankets are incredibly soft. Oh, and look at these colors. That green is just fantastic. So these could be yours. PowWows.com/win. You can enter daily to get more chances. And at the end of the episode, I'll give you a bonus code. If you watched me before, you know our bonus codes. We hide them on our live webcasts, on our emails, in our website, and it gives you extra entries. And the bonus code we use tonight is only exclusive for people watching tonight. All right, that's that. Now, over on our shop, starting tomorrow, all of our powwow stickers are going to be 35% off. No coupon code needed. Just go check those out, PowWows.com/shop. There's a few of our stickers right there. Lots of other things that will be available. We have lots and lots of stickers over there for sale. Go check that out. It really does help support what we're doing here, and I really do appreciate your support. What else? I do have a really special interview and thing that's happening tomorrow. I wish I could tell you more about it, but I'm actually under embargo. I can't talk about it for another few weeks, actually. But just know there's something really cool, and I wish I could tell you about it. But I'll tell you all about it in a few weeks. But, okay, live stream this coming weekend. Starting tomorrow, we'll be live from North Dakota. Then we'll be live at the end of the month from Gathering of Nations. We'll have 2 live streams for Gathering. We'll be live at the Powwow and Stage 49. They're kind of their music festival. In between that, we also have the Quinoa Bay. I think that's how Kiwa. I don't know. Anyways, we have another powwow that will be live and we'll be streaming that one. So we've got 3 powwows coming up over the next month. Look for all of those. Don't miss out on those. PowWows.com/live. So let's talk a little bit about tonight's guest. If you saw in the description, he is a producer for APTN, and he'll talk a little bit more about what APTN is. But they've had several seasons of this Investigate series, and they take a season and they'll make it kind of focus a season in on a particular issue. And so this time they are talking about law enforcement. The first episode, they really focus in on some deaths that occurred in police custody. And then they move on to looking at other issues in law enforcement in Canada. So I think it's a really important topic for us to look at, talk about. Please head over and watch more of their shows over there. And I hope you'll feel inspired to learn more about it and share this with others as you hear this interview. And I do want to say thank you so much for APTN for the interview, and the photos and videos that you'll see clipped in here are provided by APTN Investigates. So here is my interview.
He should still be here, living his dreams, his goals. Because what they did to him wasn't okay. They shouldn't have done what they did to him.
For John Wells, rodeo was a way of life.
This is a picture of me and John.
His mom, Edith Wells, is left fighting for justice while reeling from the loss of her son.
One of the biggest things I miss about my son was his texting and calling. It's the hardest thing to deal with now.
She last heard from him on the night of September 16.
When I got up that morning, next thing the phone rang. And I said, hello? This is the tactic team from Calgary. And the first person I thought it was my son. I said, where's John? Is John okay? Where is he? And he just said, I'm sorry to tell you, your son is not coming home. So he's not coming home.
Well, thanks so much for being here. If you could introduce yourself and tell us about the new show on APTN.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. My name is Cullen Crozier. I'm a producer with APTN Investigates. Basically, the show that we're working on. So a few years ago, we decided to take a run at doing kind of specialized series for APTN Investigates. So APTN Investigates is our half an hour news magazine program for APTN. We do kind of longer form news style documentaries. And a few years ago, we decided that we'd try our hand at maybe doing some special series, so a closer kind of in-depth look at certain topics. So our first one had to do with the corrections system in Canada and the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in the criminal justice system in federal prisons. And last year, we did a series that looked inside allegations of band mismanagement, financial mismanagement, corruption. We called that one Inside the Band Office. And coming into this season, we hadn't really decided what we were going to go with for our Inside series. And then near the end of 2024, it seemed that anytime we, opened our emails, watched the news, what have you, there seemed to be another Indigenous death that involved law enforcement, either in police custody or after interactions with police. There seemed to be a lot of Indigenous deaths that were happening. And from, I guess, the end of August until mid-December, about 15 weeks, there were 15 Indigenous people that died, again, during these encounters or while in police custody. So we decided to look at those cases, at the larger issue of kind of policing Indigenous people in Canada, a historical look, historical context. Yeah, and that's kind of how the series came about. So it's Inside Policing is what it's called.
Yeah, when I saw the press release, and one of the first things I saw there was the 15 people just in 2024. That sounds like a really, really high number. It's pretty incredible, actually. I don't know how many people died in police custody total, but that just seems like an awful lot for one particular group of people. So I guess one of the first things I want to ask is, like, is this a systemic problem? Has this been going on for a long time and not it? Was 2024 an outlier, or is this something that now that you're investigating, had there been deaths like this leading up to that year?
Yeah, and not to correct you, but it's I can't give you the exact number of how many Indigenous people died in police custody or during interaction police in all of 2024. For all I know, that number could be higher, and most likely is. What we're examining again is from August, the end of August, August 29th, I believe, till about December 15th. There were these 15 deaths that happened kind of back to back to back. Like, it just seemed every time we opened our email, there was a new one. So that number could potentially be higher for 2024.
Wow.
One of the stats that we had pulled out. It was actually during the corrections series. Basically, what got the ball rolling on that one was this stat that was released, a couple of years prior, which was that Indigenous people make up less than 5% of the Canadian population. But with the corrections series, Indigenous people now account for 1/3 of all, I believe it's federally incarcerated inmates. And for Indigenous women, that number's higher. It's about 50%. So with the police involved deaths, again, you use the same thing. Indigenous people make up less than 5% of the population of Canada, but we now account for, I believe it's around 16% of police, again, involved deaths or deaths in custody. And I want to be careful not to, I don't know the particulars of each of these cases. I'm not saying that something malicious happened in all of these cases either. It's just that's what the stat is. As for the history, I mean, Canada has a long history with policing, of Indigenous people, going back to, colonialism, residential schools, um, you know, law enforcement agencies have in the state have played, a role in some of these kind of atrocities that have happened against Indigenous people in Canada, for going on over 100 years now. Um, uh, so to get back to your question, I mean, we do look at the, you know, I don't think it's, again, I kind of want to be careful on how exactly I word this. Um, I think there have been chiefs of police, RCMP. I believe that the head of the RCMP a couple years back came out and said that there is racism within the ranks. I forget the exact wording. It's systemic racism in the RCMP, in police forces in Canada. I don't think I'm stepping out on a ledge saying that. I mean, these systemic issues are kind of ingrained in the fabric of Canada in a way.
Yeah, you hear something like that, and you really, it's one of those things that is talked about. I'm down here in the United States, so I don't, we don't hear as much about the police issues up there. Um, we had our, of course, we've had our own series of uh, people in police custody having issues, but to hear an official actually say something like that, it's pretty incredible. Um, with the series, and I know one of the episodes you're going to look at the underfunding of tribal police as well. It are the I guess the first question is the deaths that you're looking at in that short time period. All of those are RCMP deaths, or is this tribal police also part of the issue?
No. And actually, it's our episode. It's called Essential Service. I'll backtrack. The first episode that looks into the 15 deaths is called Deadly Force.
Mm-hmm.
That aired this past Saturday, March 22nd. The second episode in the series is called Essential Service. That airs this Saturday, March 29th. And that one looks at the underfunding of Indigenous police forces in Canada. And again, to answer your question there, all of the 15 deaths that occurred, it wasn't all RCMP. I believe at least one was with the Calgary Police Service. Um, and there may have been I'm positive there were other agencies besides the RCMP as well in some of the other ones. I don't have all the exact information in front of me. But the Indigenous police service that we look at specifically in that episode, they're called the Anishinaabe Police Service. I believe they're the only Indigenous police force in Canada that doesn't have one recorded uh, police involved death on their record. Basically, like, nobody dies. Um, that episode just kind of looks at basically they're underfunded. They're overworked. They have a lot of issues in these small communities. They don't have enough members on the force to kind of police all these First Nations that they're required to. I think, again, I don't know what the exact numbers are. I think they're responsible for around 18 communities, something like that, just under 20. So that's kind of where we get into with that episode.
In Ontario, the Anishinaabeg Police Service, or APS, polices 16 First Nations. Some detachments serve multiple communities. Until recently, the APS detachment serving Netamazagabeg Nishnabeg was based in a different community, about 75 kilometers away, meaning it could take 45 minutes or more to respond to emergency calls here. And there have been many.
I absolutely understand why people are frustrated. I mean, there has not been enough police presence in this community.
2024 saw stabbings, home invasions, and out-of-town drug dealers moving into the territory. In November, the Band Council declared a state of emergency because of organized crime, addiction, and violence. Hence, the rush to move a detachment into the community.
You know, I don't feel like we are adequately serving our communities because we don't have enough bodies to work 24/7. It's not fair to the communities that we police, and it's not fair to the officers.
Duncan hopes to be part of the solution here. For almost 7 years, she has been patrolling with APS. But this is one of her first overnight shifts in Netamazagabeg, Nishnabeg. She knows she'll mostly be meeting people in less than ideal circumstances. One of the night's first calls, a next of kin notification.
We're really sorry for your loss, okay? But we have some details to share with you.
Out of respect for the family, APTN Investigates did not film this interaction.
Are you here by yourself? Do you need victim services or anything?
Yeah. So in an earlier life, I actually worked in state government, which would be provincial government up there. And I know that some of the folks I worked with, when there was a police involved shooting, there was an automatic investigation triggered and lots of procedures and things that had to go on, whether it was a death or not, or injury. If there was a shooting and police were involved, it automatically spiked it, like kind of an outside inquiry. So are police forces investigating these deaths? Have they looked into it, and what are they finding?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't have the exact answer for you, Paul. I'm pretty sure, if not positive, that anytime there is a police involved death, that there is an investigation triggered after it. I know that a lot of the police forces have independent bodies that look into that. What are they called? Kind of police oversight, police watchdog,
Right,
stuff
like
like
internal
that.
affairs,
Yeah, whether each death kind of triggers and an inquest, I'm not positive on.
Okay.
But there definitely is people investigating them. What's going to come out of those 15? I'm not sure. They're all separate, or is most of them separate? So I'm not sure.
Well, as you're in episode 2 airs this weekend, so then you got one more coming. What is, now that you've kind of you've seen all the information and you're packaging this up for these episodes, what are you hoping that the viewer gets out of this in a broader sense? How do you move forward there up there in Canada to evolve from this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, Paul. I don't know. It's a question that this country has been asking itself for decades, really. And there's at least there was a big push for reconciliation, coming out of the residential school apology back in 2005, and other issues that have popped up since then. What I hope people take out from this episode, I mean, we're just trying to maybe focus in on some of these issues and maybe get people, thinking a little more. We don't have the largest team here at APTN Investigates. I think we're made up of 3 producers, 4 video journalists, and 2 to 3 reporters, something like that. So actually, it's with this episode or these 3 episodes specifically, they were all done by video journalists. Tamara Pimentel shot, wrote, and edited Deadly Force. Tom Fenario, again, shot, wrote, edited Essential Service, and Rob Smith shot, wrote, and edited our last episode as well. So we got a small but dedicated team of journalists here, and we just wanted to kind of put the spotlight on this issues and kind of these larger issues facing Indigenous people in Canada.
Oh, I appreciate you bringing these kind of issues to light. And the investigation series sounds like a really fascinating thing, which leads me to, I guess, kind of my final questions here is, one, for us down here in the United States, if they are not aware, can you just briefly tell us what APTN is?
Yeah, so APTN is the first Indigenous news outlet, or not outlet, sorry, television news program in Canada. We're a national broadcaster. So, kind of akin to, I guess, CBC. I don't know what in the States that you would have that maybe people could compare it to. But, we have our national news program with a number of, so basically nightly news, national nightly news, all focused on Indigenous issues. We're made up of a number of Indigenous, non-Indigenous reporters, editors, shooters. Again, we don't have the biggest team or as many as some of the bigger networks here, but I think we kind of hold our own. Spinning out of national news, I mean, we have Investigates, which is where I work, which is our, investigative news kind of program. We have a number of other programs that kind of are kind of spin out of news in a way. And then we have, original programming as well. Yeah, that's kind of who we are in a nutshell. Basically, Canada's Indigenous, national Indigenous, news program.
Yeah. I've been to some of the powwows up in Canada and have worked with APTN, so I'm familiar a little bit. But again, for the folks down here in the States listening, they want to watch this. Is there a way for people in the U.S. to watch?
You bet. The best, again, not knowing your guys is how television works down there necessarily, or what have you, people cutting cords and stuff like that. The best bet is probably to check us out either at aptnnews.ca, or we have a really great YouTube page as well. So APTN News, you just type that into the YouTube search menu, and all of our shows pop up. So News, Investigates. We have a political program out of Ottawa called Nation to Nation. We have kind of an interview show called Face to Face. We've got podcasts as well that can be found on Apple Podcasts, APTN. Yeah, YouTube's a pretty safe bet.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you bringing these kind of things to light and for spending a few minutes with us.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much to APTN they sent me a press release, and we've been having conversations about how to bring this forward. So I really appreciate them providing the footage and some of the photos and images we used tonight, as well as the interview. I do encourage you, go subscribe to their podcast, go check out their YouTube channel, watch these episodes, the full episodes, and get a real idea of what's going on up there, and share it with people. Make sure let's continue to raise awareness for these issues. That's the only way these kind of things get solved. If nobody knows about these, they will not go anywhere. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. It was a little more of a serious note tonight, so I do appreciate you being here and spending some time with me. Again, we'll be live tomorrow from North Dakota. Don't miss that. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lots going on up there. It's going to be a good powwow. You don't want to miss that. I've seen several flyers. There's going to be some great singing. There's some really cool specials going on, so don't miss any of that. And again, our contest, PowWows.com/win. We are giving away 3 8th generation blankets, as well as some jewelry, some scarves, and some other cool things. And I did promise you a bonus code. So tonight's bonus code is 736-8130. 736-8130. Again, thank you for your support. I really appreciate you being here, watching. The community of PowWows.com is the best, and that's what continues to drive what we do and to help us continue going on. So thank you for that. And I mentioned it before, but if you are looking for PowWows and want to see where they are coming up, please subscribe, PowWows.com/PowWows near me. Thank you, APTN, for your coverage. Photos and videos were courtesy of APTN. Thank you, Panda and friends. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the comment. I saw some other comments coming in while we had the interview, so thank you for those. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, paul@powwows.com, or if you see me at Gathering, please come up and say, hey, I'll have a few stickers and some other things, maybe. But if nothing else, come up, say, hey, I'd love to shake your hands, put a face to your internet name, and just say hello and thank you. So appreciate it, guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I am off teaching a class on disc golf on Saturday, and then I'm driving down on Sunday to Florida, spend a few days with my daughter. Then we come back and have a few days at home before we head out on another trip. April's going to be super busy. We got 3 big trips coming up. Whew, it's going to be a fun month. But thank you so much for being here. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Spend some time with the family. Give them a hug. And I'll see you back here next week.